So the finale to season 1 of Apple TV Plus's Slow Horses has arrived. Now for this review, I'm going to be touching on the finale, and I'm going to avoid spoilers from the finale until the very end. But I'll give you plenty of warning so that you can bail if you need to. When episode 5 concludes, Curly has gone maniacal and killed one of the other kidnappers, creating a large amount of anxiety and urgency to the chase because now we have seen him kill the one who is an imposter in their group and then one who is semi-sharing his belief. And it's only a very short matter of time before they pull over and Curly finishes off Hassan. Lamb and Cartwright have blackmailed Taverner into calling off the dogs on the slow horses, and it was quickly mentioned to Lamb that Sid didn't survive her gunshot wound to the head. Now the rest of the slow horses are hanging out in the cafe, with Roddy trying to track the kidnappers in the van. Now this finale is a very tense episode. Because the story is trying to close in on wrapping up its narrative, all the pressure and the urgency are mounting, and they do it effectively. Tensions are rising to extreme levels within the van, and not only because they got a dead kidnapper just slouching in the seat, but Curly is crazed and seemingly ready to kill on just about any whim. When the story focuses on the slow horses, and specifically the 4 left at the cafe, there are some really good dynamics that play out. I'm loving the awkward and uncomfortable banter between Min and Louisa. I mean, they have a connection, and I think there are some feelings for each other that are present, but Min is just a bumbler when it comes to speaking and situations, and Louisa is more focused on the task at hand, leading to some humorous exchanges between the two. Standish is still a sort of a mystery. I mean, we get more glimpses into her past, but because of the voicemail that Taverner left for her about revealing the truth of what happened to her husband, there's so much doubt and intrigue that's still built. In this episode, she also gets to have a brief conversation with Taverner, and the end result is oddly funny. I mean, it's not laugh out loud funny, it's just something that made me smirk as it felt very fitting with her character and the situation. I've pretty much loved the dynamic between Lamb and Cartwright from the beginning. And as tough and dismissive as Lamb may be to Cartwright, there are moments where we see either this genuine mentorship view come from the elder, or maybe just a bit of knowing pride at how good of an agent Cartwright could actually be. In this episode, we watch a very deep conversation play out, but in the curt and rude manner that Lamb discusses just about everything in. But despite all the chiding and derision, there's a moment here and there where we see Lamb's true feelings towards Cartwright, making that relationship all the more engaging. As the episode plays out, the anxiety really does raise. I mean, every moment that passes inches up the tension. The kidnappers are getting closer to their destination, the park is working it to find their whereabouts, and the slow horses are managing to get ahead of the game, even if nobody else realizes it. This was a very fitting end to the first season. Well, as I watched week to week, one of the episodes did feel more like filler than story development. Taken as a whole, this was exciting and very enjoyable. I'm going to now go back and binge it from start to finish so I can get the full impact of the story. And I'm fairly certain that there won't be much of a reprieve of the tension by watching it back to back. And for this finale, while some aspects may not be satisfying from a character perspective, because maybe you were hoping for some outcome for one or two of the players, the ending does give us some very concrete resolution to a lot of it. And then it opens up more doors, which I'm really excited about. Now, I had a blast with the finale, and really the season overall. And surprisingly, the sum of the parts actually made me enjoy the series even more. There's no sex or nudity, but a lot of profanity and violence. I give season 1 of Slow Horses 4.5 out of 5 couches. Okay, so at the end of the episode, there is a teaser for the upcoming season, and it's introducing us to what looks to be a bunch of new players in addition to keeping the ones that we've already met. And the teaser looks to be a little bit more action heavy, but also maintains the suspense and feel of this first season. Now, I couldn't find a release date for season 2 at the time of this recording, but I truly hope it's soon. All right, so now I'm going to dive into spoilers for the finale. If you don't want to hear those, you can just jump out now. I do appreciate you watching. Thanks for couching with me. So this episode was bonkers in a great way. I mean, the action was turned way up. And I'm going to focus on the kidnappers for a bit just to start off. Now, Curly is wild-eyed and waving that gun just all over the place as they drive towards the woods. He keeps threatening to kill the only remaining kidnapper, and then also he waves his gun at Hassan. But Hassan, even in his terror, is able to quickly retort that Curly's not going to shoot him because that's not how it's supposed to be. I mean, Hassan is to be beheaded for the cause, which then of course pisses Curly off, but he also realizes the truth in the statement. So it gives Hassan just a bit of power in their relationship, even if it's a possible false sense of security. When they pull off into the woods to dump the body and then lead Hassan to lose his head, the scenes were very tense, but also frustrating in a whole bunch of ways. I mean, if the kidnapper is really intent on helping Hassan escape and escape from Curly himself, there were opportunities to take advantage of situations well before they ran ahead and then hid from Curly. But even after doing that and then managing to run from Curly, I couldn't believe that Hassan stopped running to hide behind the tree. I mean, sure, it's there for the story because he needs to be caught again by Curly so that we can have that final showdown, but come on. I mean, the dude has just been kidnapped, he's witnessed absolute brutality at the hands of his pursuer, and then he just stops because he thinks he's gotten away? If that were me, I'm running until I puke and pass out, or can find a very secure hiding spot that I can see from all directions. Okay, so moving on. I love how Taverner has basically set the kill order for all of the kidnappers to help clean up her mess. So we can know without really any doubt that when the kidnapper with the van arrives at the dock, I mean, he's basically toast. There's no way he's walking away from anything. Now, I am curious if Roddy is ever going to go back and really dive into the body cam footage at the docks, because he could then probably get an angle that shows Nick pulling out the gun and then planting it to justify the shooting. And Roddy would then have more leverage in his back pocket than he'll definitely use down the road. I loved the conversations that were going on outside of Judd's house as Taverner is putting the pressure on inside. The discussions between Lamb and Cartwright, oh my gosh, and it's really just Cartwright having this heart-to-heart only to discover Lamb snoring. I mean, it made me laugh, but it was so fitting. And then that verbal showdown between Taverner and Standish was just awesome. I mean, the strength and resolve that Standish displayed was wonderful. And even though she doesn't get what she wants, her determination to walk away, even in the wrong direction without turning back, just shows how strong she can be. All right, so who else wants to slap men? I mean, he is endearing at times, but most of his bumbling becomes annoying. The discussion that he and Louisa have as the car runs out of gas really gives us great insight into his character, but it also works then to build out their relationship, which I have been quietly rooting for the whole time. They both share truths, which displays a lot of vulnerability to the other, and despite their flaws, I really do want them to succeed, both individually as agents and then together as a couple. When we get to the showdown as Cartwright, Louisa, and Min go to find Hassan, that urgency was just becoming insane. I mean, we've already watched the dogs take out the other kidnapper, so it's the slow horses against Nick and the dogs within a helicopter. And I was laughing at how Hassan kept poking the bear with Curly as they were approaching the castle, showing just how very little Curly actually knows. I mean, he's just blinded by his own racist and nationalistic ideas. And Hassan was bravely stupid during this walk, but it is entertaining. I like some of the realism, too, that played out when Cartwright was shooting at Curly. I mean, he's using a handgun from pretty far away, and he's running, so he's not very accurate in his aim. And while they both get kind of close to their targets with their shots, they don't have that pinpoint accuracy that just take each other out. And then when they finally capture Curly and bound him so that he can't escape, that courage that Min first shows to protect Curly, that was awesome. I mean, it really speaks to his character as a person, just not willing to sacrifice people unjustly. Now, by saving Curly, we've yet to see the full ramifications of the crap storm that creates for Taverner, because now there's someone who knows that the whole kidnapping was a ploy by MI5. And even if they do erase Alan Black from the MI5 records and create a fake narrative about him, the doubt could still be created in the public and the media. And we know that First Desk is pissed with Taverner. So will she still be Second Desk when season 2 arrives? And finally, we get to learn what I think a lot of us suspected about Standish's husband, that Lamb was really the one to kill him. Now, why though? That part is still the mystery. But we also know that Jonathan Pryce's David Cartwright was with Lamb and he has full knowledge of what went down. Now, I hope this arc continues to play out slowly through the next season, because we've gotten some answers, but now we get more questions. Okay, so I think that's it for the final episode. Did I miss anything noteworthy? I mean, what did you think of this show? And are you excited to see season 2 that's going to feature the Dead Lions? Now, I know nothing about it other than that there are way more people in the season, which should make for some broader story arcs. I may have to read some of Mick Herron's books that this series is based on, so if you have read them, let me know if they're worth checking out. If you enjoyed this, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.